Welcome to this exciting episode where we fight the cold weather to get everything ready for primer, sanding all to 150, filling any remaining gaps. The air dam needs quite a bit of work, so we'll be doing that. The bumper as well. But first of all, we're going to be focusing on the front wings. I want to get those all sanded to 150, tin foil over the headlight gap and the fuel filler, so those are perfect. The cold weather slows the epoxy, which is why the air dam and bumper are in the kitchen. Don't tell the wife. But we will get the heater on and get it going. Black Dust Guide Code helps us work out where all the faults are, so we can sand those down, hit those with 150 grit on a longboard, and get rid of all the problems. Not quite all the problems, we've got pinholes in the filler. These are caused by bubbles in the filler introduced when I was using my drill to blend it. Don't care, easy enough to fill. The YouTube says, use your razor to carefully fill the holes. The electric razor is now completely buggered, so I use a Stanley blade instead. With the pinholes filled, I turn my attention to the last bit, which is the face of the headlights. Although I'm going to put tinfoil over them, I still need the headlight surround to be even all the way round and flat. I use a finger sander to make the perimeter of the headlights all the same width, then added some gloop to the bottom of the headlights to reinforce that because I didn't want that to snap again. Quick test run of the car, and happy with that, so into the garden cabin to dry, because there's no bloody room in the garage. Those dried in, it's kind of filled with filler, so I thought I should have a sheet over the front of the headlights instead.
I decided to make a former out of some acrylic I've got, but that's obviously knackered. Looked at B&Q to get some more, 11 quid per sheet, that's 2 sheets, or £6.99 for 2 picture frames. Take the front off those and make the templates.
Take the 2 sheets together, then trim to fit. This ensures both headlights are the same shape, and we've got templates. Use cheap aluminium tape to stick the templates onto the headlights. That means nothing will stick to them when you make the mould. Once that's done, just smooth it out with a squeegee so there's as few ripples as possible. Hopefully this won't leave big marks in the mould. Repeat the same process to the other side, and that's 2 wings done. Whoop, whoop, whoop!
Having got unduly excited about finishing the wings, I've taken the bumper and decided to take that all down. This is all down to 150, and I've even gone through and marked all the micro flaws. So, a couple of pinholes there, little mark. This is real finishing stuff. So, hopefully, I can just put a little skim on those and the bumper will be finished. It's going to be 2 front wings and a bumper done. I'm not going to mix it now because it's almost midnight, but that's one for tomorrow, I think.
With the bumper filled, sanded and ready, I moved on to the air dam, and God, does that look rough compared to the other stuff. Anyway, got annoyed by these 2 upright struts. They're not even, they're not forward, they're not nice, they're not fit for purpose. So remade those in pieces of foam. First, cut out the old pieces and then the new pieces in place. Then I had some nice, even, straight, and equal uprights. That might sound simple, but it took a shitload of measuring, marking, gluing things in place with super glue just to try and get even one side in the right place. Once I got that place, I could do the other. So here we have the 2 struts in place, roughly glued in, drying. Everything takes so bloody long to dry at the moment. It's a nightmare. While stuff dries, I work on other stuff. So I'm working this upper bumper bit. If I put it in place, the panel gap's massive. I'm getting obsessed with panel gaps, by the way. If I take it out, there's obviously panel gaps are uneven and wrong, and it needs to be there. So I've got to work out how to improve that. My Julius solution to it being too thick is to make it thinner. This means chopping a little bit off those legs where the pencil mark is and thinning that top beam, well, basically so it's going to be as wide as an IKEA tape measure, which is a very important technical measure. As well as making those legs shorter, I decided to make them narrower so they weren't quite so bulky. Good old Zub does the duties, and before you know it, we have a trimmed, thinner, lower, hopefully fitting, whatever that bit's called, upper bumper bit. With that cut down and those side struts narrowed a bit, it does look better. The panel gap's good. panel gap is getting increasingly important. Still not right though. Those front bits that drop down, the legs, if you like, need, I don't know, need doing properly. God, I wish I knew what I was doing here.
Good morning on an early Sunday morning. I've just been called in to do my daily life and realised the clock's changed today, so I was sat here with a cup of coffee at 5:30 this morning, working out how to get those bits right. So I'm just going to mix the muck up for those and leave it while I do my daily tasks.
One of those daily tasks took me past Cafe and Machine, where there was a German taxi, a McLaren, squash beetle, and a few fast Fiats just leaving the car park. There's also a rather nice Z3 coupe there. But check those panel gaps out between the door and the wing, the different bits of the wing, that little panel in there. Shocking. Let's hope for me yet. Sometime later, the glutes set off and those down struts are exactly as I wanted them. Put the overriders on and they look shit. Yeah, I need to cut those short because I want the overriders further out. So if they're cut short, what does it look like now? Not exactly square, but pretty good. Alright, so if we go with that, let's get this air dam finished up and smooth.
We reach another milestone as the air dam gets the guide coat for final sanding. It feels like we're making progress. Now getting scared I'm going to have to start priming.
Sand down the first half, get it nice and white. Yeah, a little bit fell on the low spots. Flip it over and sand that down really good. Need to adjust the bumper so it fits over those new uprights which stick out a bit forward. Trim that back and fit it. I think that is ready for primer. Apart from, of course, it's not, because when I come to bolt the panels tight, I realise this passenger side wing won't go back because somewhere in there the front of the wing touches the front of the air dam and won't go down low enough to let it sit square. A little bit of filing to do there, but let's see what it looks like.
7 o'clock on a Saturday morning and got the car put together last night. Finished, ready for primer, yay! I've been thinking overnight. I think I'm going to say it before you lot do. Still too wide at the front. That line there comes out this way. I'm thinking I'll keep it in line here, chop that bit off, lose that bulge. I'm not sure. Fucking dilemma. I think like that it looks okay. It's just it don't quite fit on the back of the car. It makes the back of the car look skinny. Shit. Coming from here, that front wheel is tucked in a bit. So what I thought, I pulled this out. So I'll pull the whole front wing out and put a vent there. Then that line along the front wing, not like that, isn't too bad.
Enough of his early morning whinging and whining. If I flare the arch out, the wheels will be tucked in. Wider wheels might help that. The other option, and the only other option, is to cut that bulge out the front wing, like I said. So that'll bring the air dam narrower, it'll bring the wheel in line with the edge of the air dam and the wing comes in, whole load, chop, fill, and all that fun and games again. Join me next episode while we find out, do I do that, or do I do something completely different? Like, subscribe, and find out what happens.